So I am the worst YouTuber ever, and I totally did not film an intro. This video is going to be my favorite primers and how to use them to make yourself look flawless and airbrushed. So if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching. And please don't forget, I do upload twice a week, so make sure to subscribe because that is the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the two I'm going to be using today are the Tatcha Silk Canvas and the J1 Jelly Pack. Now, the J1 Jelly Pack I'm going to talk about now while I'm putting this one on. The reason why I love the J1 Jelly Pack is of all of my primers, every single one I use is pore filling. And that is like my main purpose for using it, is it smooths out my pores, it makes me look very airbrushed, and it makes everything just kind of look better. The J1 Jelly Pack, however, is very sticky. And what I find that it does is it helps to make sure that whatever I put on lasts all day long. So what I'll do is I will go in with one of the 6 of the pore filling primers that I really like. And I'll take that in the T-zone and anywhere that I have like any actual pores or discoloration or something I really want to cover up. Because any of these primers are really good about making sure that you kind of conceal everything that you don't want to come through. So right now, like, my pores are already blurred out. There's already a little bit of a tint because these are a little bit tinted like purple, specifically the Tatcha one. And what that does is it helps to play down a little bit of that redness and discoloration. And then going in with the J1 Jelly Pack, which is a very, like, I don't know if you could see this. It is a very thick and sticky, almost like honey consistency. And what I like with this is I take this around the perimeters of the face and over the nose. And these are the places that I find my makeup throughout the day will break up and where I might need a little bit of extra like lock, because between setting powders and setting sprays and layering products, it should last all day long. However, sometimes it doesn't, and a really good, thick, sticky primer will help to make that happen. The next primers, which do basically the same thing of filling the pores and mattifying, are the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Primer. What I love about this is it's in a little pot, and it's very similar to the Tatcha in the consistency of it. This one's just a little bit thicker. So while the Tatcha one leaves you feeling very silky and smooth and airbrushed, and your pores are filled, but it feels more of like another layer. It's a little more lightweight. This is a little heavier, and this is for like those days where you really like full coverage over the top and you really want to like press everything into the skin. The other two options, these two are basically identical, and it is the Benefit POREfessional and the NYX Pore Filler. I find that this is a great dupe and very affordable. They both do basically the same thing. They both have basically the same like, that same like stringy consistency. I'm just making a mess. They have that same consistency where they come out of the tube a little bit on the stringy side, and you mix them in, and you get this very smooth, very airbrushed finish under the makeup. Again, both of these comparable more to the Tatcha. They're a little more lightweight, and I know pore filling primers lightweight. It's not really real, but they are compared to this, which is a lot heavier, and the Tatcha one, which again is a little more lightweight. And the last two primers are a little bit smoother in texture, and they're a little more lotiony. They are the No Poreblem from Touch in Sol and the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Now, what I love about both of these is they have that same similar consistency of a lotion where they go on very smooth, but they also like blur the pores a little bit. They do lock in hydration and like lock in moisture. And I find that both of these work really well for staying hydrated throughout the day. This one is a whole lot more expensive. This one I will actually take into my T-zone when I'm not wearing makeup as well, just because I find that it works really well for just giving you a little bit of smoothing, a little bit less of like obnoxious pores, but it also hydrates really well. And it's vitamin enriched, it smells really good, and it's really good for you. So that is my like very abbreviated, very fast top primers. These are the primers that I like to use on a regular basis just to make everything look really good. I'm gonna now jump into the skin portion so that you can see how I take the primer and make that into airbrushed foundation. So I really like a full coverage foundation. My favorite combo has been for a while now, the Dior Forever Skin Foundation mixed with the Fenty Beauty. Today, just to make it a little bit more affordable, I'm gonna be taking my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I'm gonna take a little bit of that onto my Beauty Blender and blend that out. Ooh, too much. And I'm going to just dot that around the face and start to blend it in. So the first tip for flawless foundation application is build up in layers. So I did put that on, and there are some areas I want a little bit more coverage, but that's for redness. I'm seeing that the pores are very smooth. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of that same foundation and dot that just in the places where I find I want a little bit more coverage. Then it is concealer. And for me, I like a really, really full coverage concealer. Today I'm gonna be going in with the Tarte Shape Tape in Light Medium Honey, which is a ride or die favorite of mine. And what you wanna do with this to, again, ensure airbrushed skin is I will take it basically exactly where I want my problem areas hidden. So I have some texture on the forehead. The nose isn't for coverage, that's really just for brightening, as is here and here. But I want to take this down the side of the nose into any of those areas where I have some pigmentation issues. I do actually take it onto the nose a bit because that's where I'm going to contour, and that's going to help kind of make everything look a little bit smaller. And then I want to feather it down towards the cheek because that's where I have a lot of pores. And the more coverage, the more layers, the better I can have it look. But you want to make sure that you only put on what you need, because if you put on too much, it will start to look cakey. At this point, if you want to add a little extra coverage, you can. Now for me, the Shape Tape is a lot of coverage, and I don't really like too much coverage. So I do go in with a fairly light hand. I know that's not what it looks like, but then I'll just take a little bit more and I'll just dot it where I feel I want a little bit more coverage. And this time I go in with a much lighter hand just to put exactly what I want where I want it. So the next step, if you want to create that like perfect veil, is to set it down quickly. And I like to use the Cody Airspun. This is the translucent extra coverage. Like, this powder is fantastic. And I have some really high-end powders that like I will pass over for this one regularly. And what I like about this is I will set this down and I will use that to bake so that it doesn't go anywhere throughout the day. But it also has some coverage to it. So it is also going to further further blur the pores and make everything look a whole lot more airbrushed. And I take that anywhere I put the concealer. And lately I've been taking a little extra and just putting that around everywhere else. Earlier today, I actually filmed a skincare video and I did it barefaced with no makeup on, which was actually pretty difficult because I don't love the way my skin looks with nothing on it. But like, that video I'll link down below, just the difference between then and this, like, there is no pores. I go for a little lighter coverage on the foundation just because I have beauty marks. I like those to come through because it does make my skin look a little bit more real. But under the eyes, like, there are no pores. There is blurred everything, nothing else. So while that bakes, I am just going to go and finish off the under eye and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I'm done baking and the eyes are finished up, To really make sure that my pores are gone and the face looks airbrushed, I go in with the MAC Studio Fix. You can use any powder foundation. Sometimes I'll use something a little more lightweight, but when I'm going for like no pores, nothing, I go in with a full-on foundation powder, and I'm going to take that on a fluffy Sonia Kashuk brush, and I'm just going to use that to gently pull away any of that baking powder and add just a little bit more coverage on the face. So I'm just gonna go and finish up the rest of the face off camera, and I'll be back to lock it all in. Okay, so for the most part, the face is done. At this point, I go in and I set before highlighter. So in order to keep everything from going anywhere, you wanna go in with a setting spray that's going to lock everything in place. My favorite is the Morphe Prep and Set. So I'm going to take that and I'm gonna focus this just on the skin. And once that is set, I go in with a little bit of my Revlon Stay Matte powder, and I will place a little bit of that just underneath the eyes to brighten. And once again, this powder is just adding one more layer of coverage between my pores and your eyes. And then one more time, I will set down that powder. And at this point, I just highlight and throw on a lip, so I'm gonna do that, and I'll be right back. And that is it. I hope this was helpful if you're looking for flawless airbrushed skin. What am I doing? I hope this was helpful if you're looking for flawless airbrushed skin. Really, any and all of these little tips, figure out what you like. I like a full glam. I like something that is very over the top and very, very full coverage. If you like something a little bit less, then maybe it's just a combination of the primers and the setting spray and not all the different layers of powders. But again, it all comes down to personal preference. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.